Milling Through History presents Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. Every year, Thanksgiving has a number of different traditions attached to it, and perhaps one of the most notable one is that of the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. Many families will turn on their televisions every year around 8 a.m. and begin to watch the annual traditional parade, as it does signify the beginning of the Christmas season. And of course, at the very end of the parade is the arrival of Santa Claus. But how is it that this parade has become such an integral part of American society and the Christmas season is a rather unique and intriguing tale. It began in 1924 as employees of Macy's marched to the flagship store founded on 34th Street dressed in vibrant costumes, and included into their parade were floats, bands, and live animals. Now, the end of the parade did feature Santa Claus going to the balcony of the 34th Street entrance of Macy's and being crowned the King of the Kitties. Now, with 250,000 spectators, the parade was considered a huge success by those in Macy's, despite not getting a lot of coverage in the local newspapers. Undeterred, the success of the parade proved to be beneficial for many people, as Ragamuffin Day was becoming increasingly unpopular. Now, I realize some of you may be wondering, what exactly is Ragamuffin Day? Well, this was an earlier version of Halloween, where children would be begging adults for candy and having an elaborate parade being put on. Now, the custom really became more of a nuisance in the 1920s to many adults, and by the time of the Great Depression, it just became absolutely deplorable, namely because adults who were suffering from the economic downturn of the nation did not like the idea of having children come over to them and beg for treats and other extravagances which the adults could not even afford for themselves, much less even getting basic necessities. And so the parade proved to be an excellent way to put an end to Ragamuffin Day, but also give people something to kind of look forward to, a way to begin to brighten spirits, especially going into the Christmas season. Now, the 1930s would see the parade continue to grow, with crowds reaching the 1 million mark in 1933. In 1934, Mickey Mouse would enter the parade as a balloon feature in it. And from 1932 to 1941, and then from 1945 to 1951, the parade was broadcasted over the radio. Now, during the Second World War, the parade had been suspended due to rubber and helium being needed for the war effort. And so for at least a 4-year gap, everyone understood why there was no parade. But following the Second World War, the parade resumed and began to get national attention. And part of the increase to this attention came with the 1947 release of Miracle on 34th Street. This movie would actually use footage from the 1946 parade in order to incorporate it into the movie itself, and thus make this parade seem much more impressive. Now, because of the success of the Miracle on 34th Street movie, the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade was going to become televised starting in 1948. Now, the parade itself has seen numerous changes over the years, and of course, with these changes, it is essential to have these things occur, namely because if you keep the parade the same way, it would never have lasted already almost 100 years. In 1928, the parade would see balloons take the place of live animals, and the first character balloons that were created were specifically those of animals, namely in the form of fish, tiger, hummingbird, a sky elephant, and an early bird. 1935 would see the first novelty balloon appear in the form of the Marx Brothers, where somebody was being recreated as a character. The first featured performer in the parade will be Milton Berle in 1949. And starting in 1985, the New York City Police Department Highway Patrol would lead the parade, with the exception being in 2019, when the cast of Sesame Street was given the honor of leading the parade to celebrate the show's 50th anniversary. In 2005, a balloon would, interestingly enough, cause a streetlight to fall and injure some spectators. And ironically enough, this particular accident was somewhat preventable. You see, back in 1987, the city of New York had placed into effect a law which would state that which would put wind restrictions on balloons, so that if there was too much wind going on, the balloons would have to be brought down lower towards the ground. That way, all the carriers and the walkers who were holding onto the ropes of the balloon could have better control of it. However, in this particular circumstance, it appears that the '05 incident was more of an accident and not something that was ever intentionally meant to be done, but just one of those odd occurrences. Now, weather has always been associated with the parade, with the coldest parade occurring in 2018 with a 19-degree high. The warmest, though, was in 1933 with a 69-degree high. And the wettest occurred in 2006 when it just never stopped raining. Now, 2020 saw the smallest parade ever occur as COVID-19 greatly affected it. In fact, participants were limited and no one under the age of 18 was even allowed to attend. Many of the performances were taped at other locations and then inserted into the parade, and so the parade itself certainly took on a bit more of a muted aspect as compared to previous years. But 2021 would see the return of the parade with 2.5 million spectators coming in attendance, effectively moving past the pandemic and trying to show that life is once again restoring itself. And while everyone is gearing up and getting ready for the 100th anniversary of the Macys Day Parade, it is certainly interesting to note how this one particular Thanksgiving tradition marks not only the beginning of the Christmas season, but something that generations worth of families are able to come together, unite around, and be able to say that this is part of their Christmas tradition. And so, we hope here at Milling Through History that you have a happy Thanksgiving and perhaps enjoy this year's Macys Day Parade, as who knows what new surprises may occur and what other changes might happen in the future. For more information, please consider these suggested titles. Be sure to click on the left-hand side of the screen to subscribe to our show, and on the right-hand side for our latest episode. And we will see you again for the next episode of Milling Through History.